Imagine waking up this morning, on the 8th of September 2025, making your usual cup of tea, and turning on the news only to hear the Department for Work and Pensions has just confirmed major changes to state pension payments changes that affect the payment cycle starting from the 10th of September. For millions across the UK, especially those over 50 who rely on that weekly or monthly sum to manage essentials from the heating bill to the weekly shop, this isn't just news. It's a potential shift in your financial rhythm. The timing of this confirmation, just 2 hours ago, has created a wave of questions. What exactly is changing? Who does it affect? Will your payment increase, stay flat, or come with caveats that weren't previously obvious? Let's start with what's already known. Earlier this year, on the 6th of April 2025, the state pensions saw a scheduled increase under the triple lock. For those receiving the full new state pension, their weekly amount rose from £221.20 to £230.25. That's an annual increase from £11,502 to £11,973. The basic state pension for those on the older system also went up to £176.45 per week. But here's the problem: while the flat rate is up, not everyone saw the full benefit. People relying on the additional state pension, often known as SERPSE or the state second pension, only saw their payment rise with inflation around 1.7% instead of the higher increase linked to wages or earnings. This discrepancy has left nearly 7 million people with a noticeable shortfall compared to what they may have expected, and many of them don't even realize it. What was confirmed today by the DWP is the full payment structure for this month and a clarification on eligibility and backdated sums. The payment starting on Tuesday, the 10th of September, will go out as scheduled based on national insurance number endings. So if your number ends in 0 to 19, your money lands on Tuesday. If it ends in 20 to 39, it's Wednesday, and so on. No delays are expected this month, since there are no national bank holidays interfering with the system. But here's what's new, and it's crucial. The DWP has admitted, in their updated bulletin released this morning, that some pensioners have been underpaid due to legacy system errors dating back several years. These aren't small sums either. In some cases, individuals were shortchanged by over £5,600 money that could have made a significant difference in everything from food bills to funeral expenses. In fact, as of the DWP's latest correction figures published on the 25th of August, over 134,000 pensioners have been identified as being owed back payments, with nearly £700 million set aside to rectify these errors. And there's more. Widows, divorcees, and women who paid reduced-rate national insurance contributions, commonly referred to as the married woman's stamp, are among those most likely to be affected. If that's you, you may be due a payment sooner than you thought. But the process isn't automatic. The onus, incredibly, is on you to raise a claim. The government has said it is proactively contacting affected individuals, but the communication has been described by advocacy groups as inconsistent and, at times, confusing. It's leaving thousands in the dark, unsure of whether they're owed anything at all. So what's actually driving this change in tone from the DWP? Why confirm this now, 2 days before the payment window begins? Part of the answer lies in increasing scrutiny from the National Audit Office, which has criticized the DWP's record-keeping and outdated IT systems. The DWP is now under pressure to deliver clearer statements, better outreach, and a renewed commitment to transparency. Today's announcement is part of that response, attempting to reassure pensioners that September's payments will be accurate, timely, and where necessary corrected to account for previous miscalculations. But the reality is, many people will need to take matters into their own hands. That means checking your pension statement, calling the pension service if anything looks off, and keeping detailed records of your previous payments. The window for claiming underpaid pensions is limited currently, only backdated to a maximum of 12 years in most cases, and if you don't act, you could miss out permanently. And then there's the question of tax. With the personal allowance frozen at £12,570, some pensioners receiving the full new state pension, £11,973, are perilously close to breaching that threshold. Want small private pensions, savings interest or part-time work are added in. It means that many who never considered themselves taxable before may now be liable. The Office for Budget Responsibility estimates that by April next year, over 2 million pensioners will be paying income tax on their pensions, a sharp rise from just 1.3 million in 2020. If you're one of them, that may mean re-evaluating how you draw down private pensions or even considering ISA transfers to shield your savings from tax. It's a quiet, creeping change, but it's real and it's already here. Meanwhile, the triple lock long seen as the golden guarantee for pensioners is again under political review. The Chancellor has signalled that while the triple lock will remain in place for the current Parliament, there's mounting concern about its sustainability. With wage growth continuing to outpace inflation, the cost of honouring the triple lock could exceed £11 billion annually by the end of the decade. Some ministers have floated a double lock alternative, removing the earnings link, that could reduce future increases significantly, especially if inflation remains low. For a generation that spent decades paying into the system with the promise of fair returns, the idea of clawing back on future increases feels like a betrayal. But let's not forget the very real cost of living pressures right now. Even with the increase this April, energy bills remain high, food inflation is easing but not reversing, and rental costs are squeezing fixed incomes. The average pensioner household spends over £1,800 a year more on essentials compared to 2019. And while the pensioner cost of living payment, the £200 or £300 boost, paid alongside winter fuel payments, will be issued again later this year, it won't stretch as far as it did last year. Many are already dipping into savings to cover basic costs or delaying dental appointments and other essentials just to keep the budget afloat. So what can you actually do today? First, verify your September payment when it arrives. Know your day. If your national insurance number ends in 019, expect your payment on Tuesday, the 10th of September. If it ends in 2039, it's the 11th 4059, the 12th, and so on through the week. If anything is missing, less than expected, or delayed, contact the pension service immediately. Second, if you were ever on a reduced rate NI contribution, or you are a widow, divorcee, or someone who reached state pension age before April 6, 2016, consider checking your entitlements for backdated payments. Third, keep an eye on your tax exposure, particularly if you receive any additional income. And finally, talk to friends or relatives about this. These changes aren't always obvious, and one conversation could help someone uncover thousands of pounds in missed benefits. We're in a time where pension rules are becoming more complex, not less. The DWP's confirmation this morning was not just a routine update. It was an urgent reminder that staying informed is more than helpful. It's absolutely necessary. If this video helped clarify something for you, subscribing ensures you'll always know what's next. And sharing it might be exactly what someone else needs to protect their own future. Because the 10th of September isn't just another pension payday. This time, it's the start of something bigger and possibly fairer if we all stay alert and ask the right questions.